There we go. Are we in? Are we in?
Hello, how are you doing? I'll turn my music off there.
You handsome man. How are you?
I'm very good. It's one of those days, just rolled straight out of work, and then we're straight into this. So I've got to get my head in the game.
I'm sorry that. I literally had a power cut 15 minutes before I went live. For 4 minutes. For 4 minutes. Oh, it was literally the longest 4 minutes of my entire life.
There's always something I've noticed with this. We had some issues with TikTok itself for a while. I had to upgrade our streaming computer. It's a big hurdle to overcome. We got that sorted, and now my local internet has decided to be a pain. So every time we go live, it's fine, and then boom, there's a black like that.
Well, it is what it is. Well, we will make work. We will make work what we can make work. I can hear an echo. Can you hear an echo?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Hold on. Yeah, that might be me resending the signal through on my end.
Check. Oh, still here, mate.
So I've got it fine, but it might be coming through because the way I've got it set up as part of the rig is I'm getting my audio through.
Okay.
Let me figure out a way to fill that through.
No problem. No rush. Is Alan joining us? I saw the advert.
Yeah, Alan is here. He's available for questions. Legend.
I didn't know Alan existed. That's really bad.
Alan will take that personally.
I hope not. I hope not. I've seen loads of your videos, but I haven't gone all the way to the bottom. And I was like scrolling. I went, who's he? And then I ran out of time. And I had to come on.
Oh, so we've got Alan the alien here. This is this one, Alan, and then we've got Pete as well that comes in sometimes for our lows. How bad is the echo? What's the community saying? Because
it's definitely there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how I can get because the way I have it works through. I'm not set up for hosting or for being a part of the chat. How can I get that through without? If I.
Yes, chat. It is. It is an echo. He's on it. He's looking at it.
Yeah.
We'll see what you can do. Don't worry, chat.
Right.
That's it.
Does that cut out the echo your end? Put your thumbs up because I might have to.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. Right now, if I.
Oh, hang on. Oh, it's very technical, isn't it? It's very. I know it's good, but he can't hear me now. This might be a signing interview. It will just sound good.
There you go. So does that fix it? Can you hear me? And I can hear you now. Is the echo still there?
No, we are perfect now. My chat's saying it's spot on.
Yeah, perfect.
So, Sam, how are you? Because this has been a whirlwind of an arranged chat.
Yeah. Well, I'm not used to of doing sort of interviews and things because for us, it's the interest is the sky. You know, I'm just the man in the middle of it and stuff like that. But it's exciting. I'm looking forward to talking a bit more, about it and all that sort of stuff. And appreciate the opportunity.
No, you're fine. So I sent you, for the chat that doesn't know, I sent Sam the questions to pre-read. He pretty much just went all in. Let's just go. Let's do it. So we're going to work our way through the questions. We might not necessarily do all the questions. We're going to use them as a guide. And let's dig in to find out what is going on with the thing live. So let's start at the beginning. Oh, what's your name? It's like still a black in it. What's your name? Where do you come from?
Yeah, I did prepare for the questions, but they've probably gone straight through out the other side.
Don't worry.
Let's go for it.
So, what's your name? Where do you come from? What's the thing live? Let's start there, because some of my chat don't know who you or what you are. That sounds really bad.
Yeah, good point. So, I'm Sam. Yeah, and UK, Essex originally, and now down in the West Country in Wiltshire now, and that was part of the impetus for doing the thing here. So the thing itself it's an exploration into UFOs, UAP, and the wider question marks we have around the weird and wonderful there. And I think the initial impetus sort of was moving from more of a city environment into the country here. This little town that we moved to had a big UFO flap in the 60s and the 70s, and it was called The Thing. So we've kind of took that name on and from? Just. So yes, it's Warminster. Yeah,
I wasn't going to say it out loud, but I was like,
yeah. Right. Well, yeah, it's a decision. Do I dox myself or not on the age of the internet? But I think it's such a big event here in for the town that not many people really know about. I didn't know about it until moving here. So
you're on the internet. Somebody's going to take a photo of the sky above your house and go, This is his postcode.
Yeah, you got the. Exactly. Yeah, it's
It's
amazing how many
now,
locals tune in.
What's your house?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. You give up any anonymity these days, but yeah, that was the point. It was kind of an exploration into that and being out in the country, kind of having a look at it. Is it still going on? Was there anything to those sightings? And
Amazing.
really looking at that.
So, how did you get into this? Where did it start? What?
So it's a convergence really of two things. So I've always been interested, as a lot of people are, in the mystery side of things, the big question marks that we have. Maybe the boring mainstream isn't quite what we seem there. It's a bit like a treasure hunt, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of these things, maybe they're not true. Maybe they are just stories. But what if they are? It's that potential. Maybe things are a little bit more interesting than we've sort of been led to believe. That was the curiosity there. And I work as a podcast sort of network manager, so I do lots of content and stuff, dabbles in YouTube and other things. So I'm always looking at ideas and concepts, but I don't normally face them. I'm the boring spreadsheets guy. And yeah, it's kind of the wanting to create versus moving here and having this subject and the convergence into the thing.
So have you seen anything before in your life up to now? As in before you came on the radio?
Yeah.
Hunt.
Yeah, well, I not UFO related. I had a couple of spooky interactions as a child, which kind of there's an associate overlap there. But I hadn't seen anything UFO-y, alien-y, or anything like that. And that was again part of the other justification in doing this was can we see anything? Is there any evidence? Can I have some of those experiences, and share it with everybody at the same time? So part of that personal journey as well.
That's amazing. I mean, I've sat in the garden on a summer night with a glass of the old Merlot and looked up and seen a white dot moving. Look, when I saw Starling for the first time, 22 of them in a row going across, I was like...
Yeah.
And
if you don't know what Starlink is...
You throw his head up and you're like, look at that!
The amount of times I've done that, it was I'd never seen the ISS go over very, very early on, the International Space Station, and because it is so big, it's a very large object in the sky, and very bright, very fast, and we're a few weeks into doing this, and it's the biggest, brightest, fastest object, and I'm packing the camera away, and I'm looking up, looking up to the night sky, just as you do, and I go, what the hell is that? And you're with it for a second going... Is it something interesting? And I called the missus. I would go, get down here, have a look at this. And then she's laughing at me, going, it's the International Space Station. And, fair enough.
You do know you can use your phone, and the cameras on the phones now are strong enough. I'm teaching you to suck eggs here, I do apologise. But it is literally strong enough. I've done it, where I've zoomed in. It's like that big. But you can make it out that it is that.
I didn't know that, because I've just as typical, I've upgraded. I've got the brand new iPhone there. It's rubbish. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's the new thing, and I don't know if it's user error here, but I can't get a decent shot at night with the thing. So I like simplicity.
Did you see the controversy? I think it was about 10 years ago, that when you took a photo of the moon on an iPhone, it changed it into a photo that was in the storage. So it wasn't the photo that you took. It produced.
I saw something that was having this. I didn't know it was an iPhone, but I knew you zoomed in and everyone's going, it's so good that look, you can see the damn moon, and and it turned out it was messing you around because people were tricking it. I remember that one. That was
not real. So we're on equipment. So let's talk about equipment. What's your setup like? What have you got? Because for those that don't know, he has waves and radio frequencies and things all over his screen, cameras that are set up outside, switches from one to the other. How do you do it?
So it's we've got two main streams that we do. So one is the Skywatch, if it's a clear sky, which is quite rare in the winter in the UK. It's that's a well, it's not. It's a mirrorless camera now. It's a Sony A7, which is with a very good lens, and it's on a tripod with a pan and tilt sort of head. So we set that up, point it to a constellation that I can roughly sort of pick out an interesting patch of the sky, and then we bring that sort of live into various streaming software, and then for the other streams, so cloudy, we do an alien radio signal hunt there, and we've got a large sort of parabolic dish that again we bring that in through radio software, and then we bring that signal into some software that we're working on. which then analyzes those signals sort of thing coming in. So it's on either the visual, when we're seeing the sky and the stars and all the things, or it's that audio sort of version. And we're constantly trying to make it a bit more, how can we get an extra layer of analysis on these things? How can we keep updating them? And we've been working with some software at the minute that are trying to make a tracking software, because we don't see it so much now in the early part of the of our streams, but what would happen in the summer when we was coming on just as soon as it got dark is obviously the sun is around for us, hence it's night, but it can still reflect that light off of the satellites and all those objects in orbit. So you point the camera to the skies at that time and it is absolutely alive. There is so much activity up there, it blew me away. So we were developing this tracking software that basically tries to filter out the satellites, anything that's not doing anything strange, because there was 12 objects just flying across the screen at any one time. It's not like that now, we're on a bit later, the sun's gone a bit further around, but you still do see activity there. But yeah, that's the main rigs there, the audio and the visual angles.
Awesome. So, is it all personal then? It's all yours. It's not. You're not a club, for example. You're not a business or sponsorship. This is just you as a hobby that has grown into what are we now?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the stuff that I can kind of use for work mainly. So I have a lot of audio gear, a lot of things like that that I can use. It touches on the visual side of things as well. But yeah, the rest of it is, we're just purposely for the stream. I'm a sucker. When I get an idea, I've got to work it out. So it gets very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I for this, it's slightly off track, but for this, I spent so much time making this work and look reasonable, and I play with it every live. So you'll be like me, you're tinkering and changing and moving. So what's your goal with the channel? To document, educate, entertain, explore?
So there's two goals. There's the one for the channel itself. What we're trying to achieve there, which is, I suppose it's more trying to influence how we have the conversation around all of this, because a lot of people are still either heavily skeptical or think that the conversation, even the question, is ludicrous. And I think we're at a point now where the data we are getting in, even the official understandings of the UFO phenomena, is that there is something going on, whether it is ET flying around, or it's a weather phenomenon, or it's misidentification to certain degrees. You can very much have the conversation, but we really want to kind of how we, can we have that conversation and have the skeptical answers, and as long with people putting their theories forward, just have a sort of a more friendly debate and just that curiosity again. Really, that's the sort of the channel-wide goal.
You have good engagement. I many times I will sit and I'm a watcher. That sounds so bad. But I will come on and just sit quietly. I'll say hello when I'm watching, but I'll lay in bed and I'll just sit and watch. And I find it very interesting, which is why me and you are having a conversation, because I go through my life asking questions. I want to know everything. I am terrible. So that being said, what kind of audience have you built? Do you believers, skeptics, mix?
It's mostly believers. I think the people you have to have the question to a certain degree that is there something going on. We do get a lot of people on the fence, but I think it is mostly the believers kind of looking for that extra layer of sort of information. There is there anything else that can shine a light on areas they didn't know or understand? And I think with a lot of the live stuff in particular, it's very different to anything pre-recorded, so the podcasts I work with, or if you're doing sort of YouTube videos or anything like that. Live is different. It's more about community. So you kind of come in with that question: is there going to be any more information? Are we going to see a sighting? But it's the friends you make along the way. It's that
sighting question that is coming your way, because I watched something the other day and I never dropped off alive as fast as I did that day. I watched you know what I'm talking about, watched it come in, and I was like, I need to get off it, because I want to sit now and find out, because I have questions about that. I think I have the answers, but I want to ask you about. We'll get to that though. So even the Divas asked, what about the data and the radio waves? Are they the satellites in the sky?
Well, the answer to it is a lot of the time it is satellites. We've got so much man-made stuff flying around up there. A lot of the time it is. There is a prosaic explanation for a lot of it, but there is that small percentage that makes you scratch your head. And so satellites are everything in orbit. So we're speaking on the visual hunts here. They have to follow certain rules. They're falling to Earth in a big circle there. They maintain straight paths. They maintain consistent speeds. So when we see any sort of deviation from that, then well, it can't really be a satellite or one of our artificial satellites there, because they're following those rules. Same with the space junk and things like that. And similar when we're doing the audio side of things, we're searching for those signals. There is a lot of man-made signals, and even nature produces so many strange sort of radio signals. It's very noisy in radio, so you've got to kind of filter out all of those things. And I try my best to not be sensational with all of these things. And I'm human, so I do get a bit excited. I can definitely get things wrong, but I never want to kind of falsely put something forward if it isn't. And a lot of the time people will come into the streams and go, have you had a radio signal? And every time I go, no, we haven't had a clear signal for it. They're very, very, very rare. Are we going to disappoint people? Are people going to switch off straight away? But, we want to be honest with the radio side of things.
Well, I think the last one was the WOW signal, wasn't it?
That's one of the really, really big ones that does make you sort of scratch your head there. And that was in the late 70s. But there have been, and this is a new one for me, there have been more recent potential signals, and a lot of them get wrote off as, potentially satellites. But it's not in a scientific way, which you would assume, which is, we've detected it's a signal coming in on this frequency that we know these satellites use. Maybe it was these. It's more of, a lot of the times they go, well, the signal wasn't a frequency that any satellite uses that we know, and we don't know of any satellites passing over, and we can't replicate this signal from a satellite or electronic interference source, but it probably was a satellite. So for me, that's not right. I'm bringing a few of these other potential signals back into the realms of maybe. So
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of things that create. I mean, everything creates a noise. Everything.
Yeah.
And it's finding out what those things are, and you having the database of everything, of the frequency that they run. It's just impossible, isn't it? So
100%.
That being said, you say you have a radio signal. I've seen you, and you've had that little blip on your live, and you've gone, this is a signal. We're not sure what it is. We're scanning for it. We're going to see if we can figure out what it is. While going through the chat, I might add, while answering questions that were asked a few minutes ago, because you're keeping up to it. Yeah. By the way, this guy answered every question. He doesn't skip. He answered every question. Yeah. So how do you deal with trolls and skeptics then? Because you were working out signals, you're working out the chat, and then you've got somebody coming on going, blah, not happening.
Well, I actually recently got a foot pedal as well now, so I'm like one of those old school theatre organists now. I've got both hands going, pressing buttons. I've got 3 screens in front of me. I've got the foot gauge to manage it all. It's like that. But I mean, in the summer as well, when it was a very different stream in the summer. We were getting, I was 100 messages behind constantly. Wow. But it was, but I do want to read, because that's the bit that I really love is hearing those stories from individuals that, that you just don't hear anywhere else, the experience they had as a child or with their family. And, sometimes you get people in that really do know their stuff. We've had people that are very deep in the radio world. And one that kind of jumps to mind for me is that we had a chap come in who works with satellites, used to program their orbits for certain communication, something like that. And he came in, and there was something that we were seeing quite often on our visual one, and I had wrote it off as it's probably a satellite. I don't know, but it's within that realms. And he came in and said, well, look, no, based on my understanding, it couldn't be the sort of satellites you think it was, because they're far too far out there relatively. With the lens you've got, you probably wouldn't be able to see this reflection. So actually having that specialist knowledge brought something in from probably a satellite into this is interesting, this is another unknown. So you never know who you're going to meet there. That's my sort of favourite bit. But trolls, we're really lucky. We don't get many at all. That's and good. A lot of the time, they come in, and as long as I'm open to sceptical opinions, even if they're a little bit sharp and confident at first. We're open to that. And a lot of the time people will come and go, UFOs aren't real. And then you kind of ask them a bit and they go, well, I did see something once.
So, This is it. So do you believe yourself? Do you think we're being visited? Do you see yourself more as open-minded? I am, where I am all in. Put me in. I want to be. Joe Rogan's going to get the first interview, but I want an interview. I want to sit.
Oh, God, wouldn't that be cool? For me, it's a sort of a needle of belief. It's the percentages, and every question within the phenomena is a different sort of thing. Are aliens out there? For me, 100%. Just statistically, there has to be sort of life. Is it intelligent life? I'm on the sort of the 98% that's going to be quite abundant. Again, there's some new data out as well now that kind of points that way as well. And then you go, are we being visited? And then individual stories, the nature of belief there. I was a lot lower on the I was open to it. I kind of wanted it to be true, but I was kind of really in the middle, maybe not. But some of the stuff that I've heard, from our community, but a lot of the stuff coming out from America now with, the congressional hearings, a lot of those whistleblowers. Yeah, but that's the thing. They have admitted it on record.
They've openly said they are real. We just don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
They're real. Yeah. The Tic Tac, the Go Fast, the jellyfish, all those things. The evidence is there. There's more evidence that they exist than they don't exist.
Yeah. There is something going on, the specifics of what that is, and oh God, you can really delve into the lore of, are they coming from other planets, or is it an intelligent race that's been here all along? And there's you can go really, and I find them. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop, I just love all of these ideas, and at some point I'll collapse it down to a belief on a particular one, that I'll be more, or maybe it's multiple. But at the minute, I'm kind of just taking in as much as possible there with it. But I there's definitely strong indications that there is something going
100%. On. So I know I sent you some questions, but my brain's going like this, and I am using them as a guide. But I have questions. So
go for it.
Stargate, not the program, but there are Stargates all over the world, in every continent. Where are we with that?
So this is something that I barely scratched the surface on there. And for me, it's something I haven't come across a lot. And only recently, I've heard the occasional reference, but it's not like, UFO sightings. There's so many sightings. There are mentions historically of sort of Stargates and things, but not as much that I've found. So it's something that I am, because Stargate, the TV show, was my sci-fi show as a kid. So I really want to hear more on this.
Personally, by the way.
Wouldn't that be awesome? And only recently, wouldn't that be just so cool? The idea of digging up a Stargate like that. But there was an Egyptian temple. I think it's
in your garden, and you got the top of this symbol, and you dug it, and then all of a sudden there's this big donut thing in your garden.
Yeah. I just the idea of coming across something like there's something very romantic for me about the archaeological dig and the discovery like that. There's something that I just think is cool. But the Egyptians talk about literal stargates, not sort of a symbolic thing or a religious thing. There is a literal. There are these gates that you go through to this constellation that we know what the constellation is now, and I think it's in the Dendera temple they talk of that. So absolutely fascinating sort of angle.
And come from the Anunnaki.
Oh God, that's there's so much there.
Do you know, right? I'm struggling to stay within my questions because this is me. I am all in for these sort of conversations. So I'm gonna bring it back slightly.
Cool.
Because this is about you and what you do, and Wayne's asking me how many legs. Let's be fair, there's so many different species out there. Who knows how many legs?
Yeah, exactly.
My advice to Wayne would be download the Blue Book Project manual. God. Have you seen that? By the way,
I haven't actually. We're probably going to cover that for one of our deep dives. At some point like that. Yeah,
it's just good. I had, and my daughter was going through the big C, and she was in hospital, and she sat beside me. She's well. She's good.
Oh, good.
And she sat beside me in hospital on chemotherapy, going, Dad, and I'm on my phone, reading it. My friend sent it me, and it's openly available now. And I am going, shh, pushing her away from me. So,
100%.
So, what's the most convincing thing that you've ever captured? This is back to the conversation that you were going to have.
So we had a sighting recently, a visual one, and that was not Monday gone, the Monday before, and it was a bright orange. It probably would be like an orb. It's just obviously we've got a very sort of yeah, exactly. So the low frame rate on the camera. It shoots across and it kind of draws the line because we're trying to let in as much light as possible, so it kind of draws that image. So we don't know it was an orb, but it would assume that way. And there's very little air traffic here anyway, and when you see an aircraft, they're very obvious the way we're zoomed in. You see the strobes, you see the wing outlines, and all this sort of stuff there. So we can go, not an aircraft. We're very confident with satellites as well. They're much smaller than what this came across there. And normally a bit slower as well, like quite a bit slower for the satellites we see. Shooting stars is the other explanation there. And again, not like any shooting star we had seen before. You can see the tail normally of a shooting star. You see, the actual nucleus part of it, and then the bright tail behind it.
No
and
corona,
so what we're left with,
nothing.
There was no real glow to this. It was just the tightness of that orange shape, wasn't it? And,
guys in the chat, it is pinned. I think it's pinned at the top of your channel. Guys in the chat, after the interview, go look at that footage. Because I was in bed watching you, and you went, oh, and said the word, and I'm trying not to get banana. And then I was like, I've got to come off, because I wanted to ask in this conversation about it. So you were saying about the lens and the rate of shutter speed. I was thinking that, but I wanted to confirm that with you. I think there's something behind that. It's not a satellite, it's not a plane, it's not a shooting star. There are very few things left. A firebug, I don't know if they've got them in your area.
Not that I know of, but yeah, I mean, that would be a consideration. I mean, I think, I don't think we have them here, but yeah, what else can it be? And we tend to get left in this area quite a lot. It's that doesn't fit the normal explanation, but what the hell is it? It's not quite ET waving as he's going past, so to go sort of eureka, but it's anomalous, and we're still stumped with it. So far, that is our best sign.
When you go with
that is the question. We just keep searching. We hope we're going to get that next level. So again, we've only got the visuals for it, and hopefully as we go, we're going to try and improve what we can capture. And one of the ways is going to be hopefully through infrared as well. So if we can get more about the light that's being emitted there, that can give us sort of temperature information. Maybe we can get a more accurate size of the object. As well through different sort of wavelengths of light there, but even little things like positioning is quite difficult for us. Now we've got this motorized head to know exactly where we were pointing at any one time. We used to have like a sky map up to compare against satellites and things, but we move the camera around now, and these little things is, can we get the data more and more and more to the next level, sort of with these things.
Well,
but
keep going.
It's a technical challenge.
Keep doing. So what's your take on disclosure? Whistleblowers, legit distraction? I mean, I am all in. I think I have so many opinions. Can't let you go.
Well, I think. I'm in the top 90s, that this is going on there. The only counter argument that I think has legs is it they call it a PSY operation. Is there a reason that the officials are coming forward with these, if they were false, to paint that there's something else going on to hide something else? That's the only sort of viable alternative there. But I think you look at the rest of the evidence, and for me, it doesn't stack up. I think there's something is going on very close to what a lot of people are saying. Now, some very credible people have come out now, claiming to have hands-on, with the projects, with the craft, with the beings, people whose careers are not at all necessarily associated with that, but very senior in the intelligence community there, very senior in government. And I think they're either outright lying or you've got to believe them with that. But it's disclosure itself is... I used to think it would be, the president, even though we're here in the UK, it's the president would lead something like that in the US. It'd be them coming out, saying, yep, aliens are real. And I think that would push the needle. But
if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Trump, isn't it? Is it?
Well, this is the thing. Hopefully.
Unless Elon gets in, and he can't because he's from South Africa, so he can't be president. But I'm thinking that Donald Trump, if anybody was going to do it, but I don't think he'd do it. I think
This is it. Yeah. Now, could you play to his ego there? Is there some other scandal that would be so worth him getting the distraction for? It could work within our favour.
If only there was a scandal going on right now about a man on an island.
Only there could be something.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, our luck for disclosure, is getting a bit better with this. But if anyone, it's probably going to be something like him, because he's an outlier. Whatever you think of him, he's not part of the system, is he?
I just got a vision of an interview live with the podium and everything going, I'm going to release the aliens are real.
Straight gone, yeah.
And not risk it.
It'd be... Yeah, he'd be trying to tariff them. That's how we'd hear about it. Would be the tariffs, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But
so, do you think people on a whole want to believe, even when the evidence isn't strong? Do you reckon?
I don't know. I think we believe. So something I learned a little bit about sort of psychology is that we don't believe necessarily based on evidence. We believe based on our structures and understandings of the world. So we go through life building a model of how things work, good versus evil, the police are out there to protect you, the doctors are out there to cure you, and all these sorts of things. We build this model of understanding. And a lot of people in the UFO world tend to have come across a point of that's not quite true necessarily, and therefore we see things that that's our weakness, our bias is that we see things that confirm that it's the status quo isn't quite right. And then the opposite side, people that have gone through relatively unscathed, and those things have held true for them. They've gone through school all right, they've got a job that's been all right, and they've got a family. All the things that tick the boxes. Society functions, and it is as it is. For them, if ET is real, if aliens are out there, and that's not the official narrative, then that questions their whole structure of how the world works, and it can be quite unsettling. And you get that sort of you get quite an emotional pushback sometimes from that. And again, same for us on the UFO side. We come from these belief points, and to fit it there. So I think. Yeah, it kind of which side of the aisle on that you land on, and you're looking for things to reinforce subconsciously. Then that's why we have to be careful.
So, have you ever changed your opinion with some sort of after researching and really going into it? Have you ever? Because you were saying you were swinging with the needle.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone? This is going to bring me to Bigfoot, but it's. I want to talk about him as well, and that's not in the list of questions either. So you're welcome. Surprise. Yeah. So, have you ever had the needle completely go off or completely go on with something?
I haven't had it completely, I don't think. Maybe on specific cases of belief, it was people talk a lot about someone like Bob Lazar, a specific whistleblower there coming out with their specifics of an account. They can kind of go on and off. Sometimes you get information that proves or disproves some in particular sighting there. Not so much in the overall. I mean, it does overall grow. Something doing this has shown me that I didn't, because again, a lot of this is this unconscious, it's contextual. How much do we hear about UFOs? You hear a little bit in the news, then maybe there's a little bit of a chance. But doing this and hearing everybody that has had first-hand witnesses, whether it is the lights in the sky or something a little bit more full on, hearing the sheer amount of that has really got, I think there is something else going on here. Just the quantity of it there. I think a lot more people than expected. We've had a few people since I've started doing this, people that I know close to me, who have asked previously, have you ever had an experience? Have you ever seen anything like that? No. And then I'm doing this, and then they're kind of seeing the community, and they go, oh God, actually, yeah, I did have this experience. Yeah. I did have that. And I think it's a lot more common.
There's a stigma to it, isn't there? If you're not,
100%.
If you're not with a believer, I'm a bus driver in my everyday, and if I go into my canteen at work, I can sit and talk to 10 out of 250 drivers. 10 of them are like, oh, yeah, I look like I could see what I was like. What you're talking about. But you have a conversation about it. And the other 240, like, no, you're talking rubbish. But we get together. We seem to have that community, and it's like that instant infinity with everybody that you talk that believes. It's like a magnet.
It is. It's a bond, isn't it? There,
Yeah.
and it's the that you kind of you're open to these things, and therefore you're my type of person. You're going to evaluate the world probably similarly to me. It's same with my work. Very much. If I will not just get a side eye, I would get a serious. If you lost the plot, if I kind of shared my interests publicly. But saying that, the people that I work with, so the creators and things, this year, over the last few months, they've started to dabble a little bit in this space, creating content like that, and they're very much diehard people that are coming from the mainstream. Nothing's going on, it's a bit silly. And I remember I was getting, it's in the canteen, I was getting a can of drink there. One of the chaps was talking about they'd done a UFO and they had caught something on their little UFO hunt for a video, and the look in his face trying to explain to me, but we did see something, we did that, because he was expecting me to be counter it. You're crazy. He was the justifications like, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but, and I'm like, don't worry, mate. You're actually safe hands here. But yeah, I think the zeitgeist, it is slowly minimising. It's more conscious. It's more in the conversation, and
it is. I love the conversation. I listen to a lot of podcasts, about it. And so I kind of lost track where we're going to go. Bigfoot.
Oh yes.
So we're talking about the needle. The needle with Bigfoot for me now was like this, and now I am all in on Bigfoot. I believe in Bigfoot.
Really?
I tell you why, if you want, why I believe in Bigfoot. I've come to the conclusion that it is real. That so there was a sighting in Scotland. A couple of years ago now, in and ahhing, let's get about that. But the Appalachians in America, they are constant, and skinwalkers and things like that. But keeping on the Bigfoot conversation, I think that they are interdimensional. I think that they can come and go as they please. I don't think that they release any waste product on the ground while they're here. I think possibly they're just a race that can come in and out as they want to come in and out of our existence.
I've heard a little bit like this, and I was more open to the Bigfoot, the traditional Bigfoot in the US, and more maybe that it was sort of an undiscovered sort of species or something like that. But one thing that has kind of been interesting doing this stream is that, and realizing that the things that I do or don't kind of believe in more or less is not because I've got any evidence or any real argument. It's just because I haven't seen the details on it. And Bigfoot was one of these ones was for me where I was just going, the interdimensional aspects of it. And the more you look at that, the more interesting information there is in it. And I had that internal, I didn't lean that way to start with. And it's like, what else with it? The consciousness connection in the UFO stuff as well. I'm more of a nuts and bolts person. I like to physically do things. I don't meditate. I've never had any success with that. I can't sit still long enough. So the idea of consciousness and connecting with these things for me was out there. But now it's like the a bit of humility in the I just don't know. So it's more of I've got the things that I do believe in, and then the more of that I haven't looked at enough yet to really have an opinion, trying to come back to that. But Bigfoot wise specifically, again, it's so fascinating, isn't it? Like the idea that there could be a little bit more going on. And then we're talking about UK sightings as well. Normally we don't get the love with this stuff.
And through history, it's been there in the UK, but very, very distant between. And then the last sighting was in the last couple of years in Scotland. So that's every continent in the world that has had a Bigfoot sighting. Whether they're true or not, we don't know.
Yeah.
But that's every continent in the world.
That is interesting. So I didn't even know that there was the historical one there, because again, like with the UFOs, you start to look, and again, throughout history, it's the same phenomena been reported there. And it's the fact you've got the history, because that was one of those things where initially when I heard Bigfoot in the UK, I thought, we're not big enough for Bigfoot, are we? We can stand on top of my house and I can see Scotland. We're quite a small country. Where would Bigfoot hide? But, this is the thing, actually, like there are these reports, there is these opportunities for these things. Well, and
look at the cat of Bodmin Moor.
That's
not UFO, but the cat of Bodmin Moor. I don't think it's still there. I think it was. I think it escaped from the circus, and it was. and it passed on and got eaten and whatever. But and Loch Ness, again, I think somebody saw something coming out of the pub. But there was a sighting 2 months ago at Loch Ness.
Yeah, there was something else as well, some data that actually, like, people go, where is all the evidence? But actually, there's actually quite a historical backlog of, say, for Loch Ness, historical sonar anomalies quite consistently and quite regularly, and there is question marks there for it, and I wasn't aware of that.
And I would again go to. I'm going to go to CERN in a second. So I would again. We're not on this. This list that I sent you is gone.
So that's the best way.
So I mean, I think a cephalopod could, if you can think Bigfoot could come through, then if Bigfoot is a caveman, for example, from a million years ago or whenever, and then what's stopping a cephalopod going through a portal in Loch Ness? Because stargates don't move. We were talking about them earlier. So why would we think that portals move?
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, that's a very I think we've got a very rough understanding of time. We've got like the child's equivalent of, when you tell your kids, don't lie, lying's bad. But as an adult, sometimes there's a few times you might need to do that. And there's a whole grey area in between. I think we've got understandings. Yeah, exactly. But I think our understanding of time is probably similar to that. We're in that childlike stage. And, the explanation of how then things can coexist, can cross portals and all these things like that. We've got our understanding of how that might, we're thinking of like a physical portal. But yeah, I think when we get to it, I think it's all going to be a lot more connected and a lot more interlaced because there is so much nuance to the world, and we like to collapse it down as humans, don't we, into these simple things. I think it's all going to be connected there.
So where do you sit on the world of CERN? And we'll do CERN, and I want to do the quote of gifted technology. So we'll do CERN, and then there is a US senator that said that these are donations, these ships that land.
Yes.
So let's do CERN first, and then we'll go into the donation conversation.
So CERN, that's the Large Hadron Collider. I think there's definitely a normal explanation for it. I lean more towards the law of unintended consequences. Is there something happening as part of that process and understanding? And I mean, I didn't really fully understand what a particle collider was and why they were sort of trying to do all that. But it is absolutely fascinating. It's all to do with the relativity of time, trying to get a longer period to look at these short-lived particles. Well, that's bloody interesting. But yeah, is there an unintended consequence? Is something else going on that is creating those connections? And I don't fully know, and you're going to get that a lot from me at the minute, because I think as I'm learning that I just don't know things, I'm more hesitant to kind of pick an opinion with a lot of beforehand.
You're a data guy.
Well, I think I've been caught out too many times,
Right,
realizing that what I believed was on such soft foundations, that now I'm a bit more sort of cautious with it, because you could spend so long looking at all of the details of these things and really having a strong sort of more of a foundation on it. And I'm just not the person to really talk about a lot of the things, but I find it all absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I don't know the specifics with the CERN one there, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of unintended consequence going on there, which is messing things up, and you're getting into
and a lot
split
of
dimensions and things.
A lot of inventions are an unexpected consequence.
God,
Loads of inventions, loads of them. Inventing the car, inventing the seatbelt. We would never have had the seatbelt, and they didn't know they needed that. Velcro was invented completely by accident. So, I mean, that's tentative. Yeah. But, so, let's go on to the donated technology. So, I can't remember her name. It wasn't Anna Paulina Luna, it was somebody else. And she said that she thinks that all the crashes are donated technology. And I think all's a bit of a stretch, but that she said that.
Yeah.
Where are you with that? Do you think they've landed? Do you think they've donated? Do you think... I mean, Roswell. for example.
Yeah, well, Roswell was interesting because we got those pictures, didn't we, quite recently?
Yes.
That seemed to have been leaked through from the National Archives. There's no craft necessarily in shot. Some people thought they could see wreckage, but this crater basically might be our first eyes on the actual Roswell site. I thought was quite cool. But yeah, like the donation, the idea that maybe the race or races of intelligent life are purposely kind of donating craft to kind of push us along a little bit technologically there to kind of help us along our way. And I definitely think it's probably going to be a bit of A and B with that. Like crashes make sense. There's always an error rate, there's always a failure rate.
Yeah.
And my current belief on the UFO side is that life is going to be goddamn abundant, and I think intelligent life is going to, if we've got one species coming here, there's going to be others, and therefore the error rate multiplies because, even if one person only has, a safety record of X, everybody there, let alone any internal sort of conflicts or changes and things. So I think there's going to be a high error rate, but the principle that maybe they are kind of trying to influence us, I kind of go back to how we treat other sort of creatures and things like that, and we experiment all the time. We give octopus toys and tools to see what they'll do. So I 100% think that could be something that's going on.
I'd love to believe it. I think it's very romantic I mean, look, the boogosphere. If that's real, I'll ask your opinion. But if that's real, then that's a technology that we just appeared float. It's true, for those that don't know, it's a silver ball. It's like a football. It was found floating in the jungle and flying in the air on its own, going up and down, not anywhere in particular, like a balloon, but it's a metal ball. And then it landed, crashed, and then the guy that's in charge of it is a very well-known hoaxer, which is a problem. So that's why it's not in mainstream, because of him. And if it's real, that's such a shame.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I initially wasn't a big fan of the boogosphere, and it's interesting understanding why I wasn't. And it was more of an emotional argument. I was looking at, as you said, the chap that had it, and it's not that I didn't like him necessarily. I think he's more on the excitable side of things, but there was the videos of how they were handling it and how they were trying to measure it, and there's two ways of looking at it, which was they were doing their best to try and get data in the same way that we do on our streams. We muddle through and hopefully learn, but there were certain images where they were doing tests, and one scientist was handling it, had gloves on, the other scientist didn't have gloves on. And it's like there's little things of, if that's your level of consistency there, then I can only take the data that you provide to a certain level of credibility. But I did hear recently, who was it that said it, but there is more data on it that is coming. It's gone to an American university, and they're meant to be some more info on that.
Yes, so the government wouldn't release it out of the country. And now it's been allowed to go to America. So it's in America now. Of course it is.
Excellent.
And they're going to look into it. The guy that owns it, how you can own something like that, I don't know. But the guy that owns it won't let them cut into it. But they reckon that the AI has deciphered the symbols on the outside of it. So that's be interesting. We're waiting for that to come out. Avi Loeb is involved in it. God help us, TikTok shop. So I mean, it's interesting. It is interesting. Let's circle back, because I'm aware of time now. We're at 7:20. You are live at 8:00. So
well, I might have a little bit longer actually, because I'm meant to be live at 8, but I might have some other matters come up, so I might end up delaying my stream anyway. Oh, okay. So we might be able to keep going a little bit longer.
Okay, so let's.
Sorry, guys.
Let's circle back to the questions about you and your channel. So, how was running this channel? This is going to sort of dry. How has running the channel changed you personally? Because you are on all the time. All the time. Every night. And when you're not on, you've got a cloud there, you are gaming.
Yeah. So It's I mean, I'm not a public facing person. That's why I work sort of in the management side of content. You know, doing all the spreadsheets. I like to be the man behind the curtain normally. So it's been interesting personally, kind of overcoming those or trying to overcome those insecurities. You know, I hate the sound of my own voice. I couldn't hear it at all before, but now doing this, I'm starting to tolerate it a little bit more. And even doing things. That's why I said yes to do the sort of this. Never really done sort of an interview before, and you know, I thought, hey, let's try and come out of the comfort zone a little bit, and you know, give it a go. There, you know.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I do. I'm not one that particularly loves the attention. It's not something I get an active benefit from. I like to craft things. Yeah, don't make eye contact. Yeah, I like to make things that people like. You know, I like to have the experiences and that's where I get my joy and my feedback. You know, if people are watching the stream for the sky, if they're following, you know, the numbers go up. If you're enjoying the thing that I'm making, then that's what I like. You know, sort of don't have to like me. That's where I kind of. But that's the bit that I'm getting used to.
So you've got somebody with you now. So that brings me to this question: do you collaborate with other Skywatching channels, with other people live? You've got. You said you've got your friend there. You've got you've got Alan as well, you know. Do you collaborate a lot with people?
No, so we've only got Alan with us, Alan the alien at the minute. I'm afraid he isn't with us tonight at the minute. But so I'm not a very good team player. That's the problem with me. So I much like to do my own thing, and if you like what I'm doing, you can come and join me. But you know, I find clubs, organisations very difficult to negotiate. So and it's not that I'm opposed to it. I think there's some really fantastic people out there making content at the minute. Now we're such privileged time to be able to share in all of this, the work that people are doing now there. So like, I think there are some amazing people, but kind of partly coming back to the bit that I don't like being centre of attention is that people aren't on the stream for me. I'm the middleman. They're here to watch the sky, hopefully have the evidence here, and I'm just, you know, sharing whatever it is they're talking about, and I'm just the man in between. It's nature putting on the show, and the chat that bring in the really awesome questions and the first-hand accounts there. So I don't really have with collaborating with other people. I don't know what I would say or do with those sorts of things.
I don't. I don't. This is my channel. This is my channel. I do it all myself. I have moderators. I love the conversation, which is why we're having the conversation. But
yes,
this is my baby, and I worked blooming hard for this. So I'm right there with you. You know, you're protective of your baby.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do, definitely. Yeah, it's like a piece of art that I'm slowly working on, and I'll take input. I hope everybody likes it, but ultimately there is something that I'm stubbornly going to make, regardless of what everybody else thinks. I just hope that they like it.
So, what advice would you give someone starting out a Skywatch channel?
Persist. You know, this is the, you've got to just learn as you go. You know, it's I see it the same with the work I do day to day with podcasts and things like that. It's we all want the viral hit, the viral. You know, we want to go. This is I'm putting myself out there. I hope people like it. And if you don't get anybody coming back to you, go, am I doing something wrong? And it can be quite a negative. But the idea is just put it out there, and as you learn new things, you'll adapt and you'll grow and you'll figure it out. It's persistence is the key that I see at work with people. Like if you're going to have a hit podcast, it's because you've done the work there to figure out what that was, and you stuck to it long enough there. So as long as you can just stick with things and, you know, and be willing to learn, then 100%.
Consistency is key.
Consistency. Yeah, hence the every night.
It's all I ever hear. It's all I ever hear. In my own head as well, I'm like, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. Shameless plug, by the way. But you know what I mean? It's just constant. So, what's an unpopular opinion about the UFO community?
This was the hardest one out of the questions to prepare for. And I think, for me, it's going to be that psychology will play a very large part in the sightings and the understandings. Hugely, yeah, and we don't want to say that from our side because because we hear it a lot. We hear that, oh, you're hallucinating, oh, you're seeing things, oh, you're crazy. It's used as a sort of a very negative sort of against us. But I think we have to admit and define what those realms are of the psychological, so we can effectively discount them. And studying a little bit of psychology, the brain is amazing and it can account for a lot of things. And I'm not talking about hallucinations per se. I'm talking about how we understand the world, how we put those frameworks in place to therefore understand what we're actually seeing and things like that. And I think that's the one that I get a lot of pushback on, because I think understandably people have that used against them as, you know, as a negative and as a catch-all to discount them. But I think we need to reclaim it.
And
so,
just to come off script, Stephen Greer. I have an opinion on Stephen Greer. It changes, but my needle goes like that to that. It doesn't ever come across. C5 experience. For those that don't know, Stephen Greer is an ex ER doctor who was taken on the UFO project, and he's an interesting character who is involved. He says that he has talked to every president, every sitting FBI boss, director in living history. Throw me a bone. What do you think?
I try to not dabble too much in my own sort of, but he's one that really does.
Stop being a politician.
He's one that I find it very hard to separate the art from the artist with him. He's a very, I say he seems to be quite ego driven, and that gets in the way of the work quite a lot. That's my opinion on him. Whether his work that he does that come from a place of misinformation, or is it true and is it earnestly done? I think there's definitely some interesting angles across both sides with that. But I do think that, and again, would I, being as public facing as he is, and the criticisms that he's probably suffered there, would I also have the same reaction to that? Would I still have the same sort of defensive ego? Maybe. So I find it hard to judge, but that does for me get in the way of the work that he potentially is doing.
The thing that annoys me with him is somebody will say, I don't know, I looked at a tree, I've got a mate that knows that tree. He's in my team.
Yes, yeah.
He was the one that planted the 3 leaves on the right limb, because he knows everybody, and he's got somebody in his team, and he's got personal protection that nobody's ever seen, that are around him all the time. Yeah. And I kind of believe that.
It's always coming in there, isn't it? Yeah, they've got to have the authority in it. It was me that did this first. It was, like that. I already knew that one, and yeah.
He's got a cloud. The man has his own cloud. You know, and I mean, like, he's got his head in it. He's so tall that he's got his own personal cloud. And I like the bloke. I want to like him. I just don't think that everything he says, or even if it's true, doesn't come across, because he's the sort of bloke that the sky is black because he says it is.
Yeah, he did an interview, I think it was with Jesse Michaels. He's one of my favourite people into space. And it was painful to watch, because Jesse is such an earnest, brilliant researcher. Yeah, and that's the line, isn't it, there? For me, it was really difficult, because I understand a little bit, the ego, the wanting to kind of, flex those bits. Yeah, but he was, a bit nasty with him in that sort of way. And it wasn't a good look.
And it gets in the way. Like, you're on my podcast, mate. You know what I mean? Just wind it in. You're not
exactly.
You're not who you think you are. You are here at my request to talk to you. Yes, I get that. But this is my
just
environment.
Some decency.
Yeah. And he went on Logan Paul, and he came across like a kid in a candy shop. So
I haven't seen that one. That's an interesting combination there, because that's going to be 2 egos butting for who's going to take the dominance there.
I am starting to like Logan Paul, though. That is an unpopular opinion. You are welcome. That's free. As far as him in this UFO space, the fact that he borrowed permanently the video footage from that guy, I didn't like. I'd rather not see it, even though we've seen it, because everyone reckons that it's already been leaked. But he does fish, and I like him fishing, and I think he's a good fisherman.
Well, these things, they can be, right for the wrong reasons. It's like, Trump is obviously a very interesting character that people feel very passionately either way about. But if he is advantageous for us in the community in the long run, whether it's his own self-interest that's served, then if it pushes disclosure, same with having somebody else, you say like Paul there doing it, then, use it for our interests.
I'm done with his brother, though. I can't do his brother.
Oh, Logo... they're both of them. I try to avoid them as much as possible.
Yeah. So let's close this out with the last few questions, because I know you've got to go live, and you said that you might have a bit more time and blah blah blah. I mean that with the greatest respect, but you've things that you need to do. That sounded so bad. I am so sorry. That was so rude. Blah 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 is not in my vocabulary for this conversation. So a couple of more UFO questions, then we'll do a closer. Are most UFOs misunderstood nature, or do you reckon that it's really, really, really going on? We touched on this before. I want a definitive.
I don't know if I've made my mind up on that one. If I had to,
where would you lay your hat?
I would. At the minute, I would lay it towards that. It's going to be the UFO side of things, but we are getting close to the point now where we are getting so much information. There are so many sightings coming on so often that I'm starting to think that it's not going to be much more than it's going to have to be a natural explanation, because there's just so goddamn much of it. It's almost too much to a degree with it. But no, I do at the minute I am leaning towards, this is probably some sort of conscious phenomena going on there rather than a misidentification.
What would take you to not believe?
Not believing is a difficult one, because to disprove fully that we aren't being visited, it's hard to prove the negative there, isn't it? But yeah, definitely, it's not a high bar of disproof on specifics or individuals, as long as there's just the evidence there. But as overall, I think we'd have to really be exploring a good few other solar systems to kind of just check, yep, nope, there's nothing around here,
do you think
before I could.
You've brought me back to something completely different now. I was trying to get this list so I could get you off to do what you need to do. The moon.
Yes.
I wasn't going to talk about the moon, but you've kind of brought me there. So let's go to that.
The moon is weird.
So, right. There's a conversation to be had about the moon. The fact that we fired a rocket at it, we can have that conversation. And also, we've been on the moon, have we? So, firstly, do you think we've been to the moon, yes or no?
I do, yes. I do lean very traditionally. We've been there, been to the moon, and I don't think questioning it is unreasonable. I think there are some very interesting points that people do raise with it, and I think the reasons for me, without understanding fully the science of these things, it goes back to that emotional sort of, well, surely, that many people couldn't have been fully misled to that degree over that period of time.
You've got to remember that we were racing. We weren't. America was racing Russia.
Yeah.
So if Russia would have been the first people to come on and go, hey, you didn't do that. We tracked you. You sent a missile up with nobody in it.
Yeah.
And then they are
exactly
the first. But I think
calling shenanigans. They would have been. Yeah.
I think that. Have you seen the film about where they faked the moon landing and they made the film?
I think so.
It's awesome. It's such a good film. I actually think that's real. I think that's what happened. I think they were that worried that they couldn't prove that they landed on the moon, that they faked the footage to prove to the world that they actually did it. And I think they did it. I also think that they landed and were told not to come back.
I see. That's one I do hear a lot of there. I mean, there's so many little, pink things that you could take as evidence there, like, astronauts' behaviour after the fact, various sightings, things in images there. And, it is tantalising. I always lean, though, that you'd never underestimate bureaucracy. And, I think, just government budgets and public interest probably is enough to answer why we haven't been back. But not to say that I don't believe anything else didn't go on there. And I definitely think they probably had backup footage. Maybe that's what we saw, in case it didn't work out. Like 100%.
So we famously fired a missile at the moon. For the chat that didn't know it, we did. Not we, America did. Human race did. Yeah. And the moon rang like doing for hours.
Yeah.
And that is...
So the moon is weird.
That is evidence. That is science. That is fact. Mm-hmm. That's not disputed. Is it a ball? Is it fake? Is it a satellite? Is it...
It's definitely a strange object. And I thought moon conspiracy theories were like, that's full tinfoil hat, but it is weird. It is very strange. There's so many coincidences that line up just ever so perfectly, and I never know if I'm just looking at this wrong. Am I cherry picking the ones that interest me, and I'm missing the other contextual information here? But it does seem to be very odd. You talk about the density there, so we know we've measured seismographs and things like that, and on the surface there, how dense the moon is. It's meant to be made up of the same stuff as the Earth, but yet it's about 23% as dense, so it does ring like a bell. It implies that maybe it's sort of a honeycomb internal structure or something like that. It shouldn't exist. We're the only ones with a planetoid moon that close and that size, the scale to the moon to Earth, that ratio. Like Mars, for example, its two moons, is it Phobos and Deimos there, they're more like captured asteroids. And, so it seems a bit odd like that. And then you consider the effects that it has on us. There's so many, not just the tides, but it stabilises our axial tilt, stops us from shaking around there. The tides are an obvious one there. It's the general weather things. And it's also this staging post. So it's that perfect set of stabilizers on the child's bike there for us into the space race to learn and to adapt. And also the fact that we get full lunar eclipses, like that perfect alignment, that we're here at the right time to see that. It's a little bit, is that the calling card in of itself, that maybe that's a little bit too perfect? But it allows us to study the sun, because it's actually ever so slightly doesn't cover it, and it gives us that natural opportunity then to study the sun from here. So there's all sorts of weird coincidences and facts about it, its density and the fact that it's inside out. Basically, it's softer on the outside than it is on the inside. It's the reverse of a planet normally. But yeah, weird.
So I have so many questions. This is going to go on too long. A couple more, and then I will let you go, I promise. Antarctica. Oh, yeah. Antarctica, I think we're going to find some very interesting things under the ice, or should I say there will be some interesting things under the ice, if not known already. I think we found it.
I think quite possibly.
There is footage of it being green from many moons ago, years and years and years ago, that have been refound in archives. So it was green at some point, but we knew it was anyway, because life happens.
We did know it was green for a very long period of time, and it also, so it was more temperate, but it was also, in the dark, 6 months of the year. So even take away the conspiracies, you go, what does a green environment look like? What does the vegetation, what does the animal life look like that's in the dark for that amount of time? We don't even know that. I think it's going to be a very interesting place, and maybe it is already, as you say, because there is some interesting stories.
Neil Armstrong going down there and having a heart attack and coming to TikTok shop and then coming back and going, I can't remember the words that he came out with, but it was something like "God help us all," or the evil inside TikTok shop of that place is. It's so fickle, this app. You've got to be so careful.
Oh God, yeah.
He won't talk about it now. The amount of interviews that have been had with him to discuss what happened down there, he will not say anything.
Oh, so I wasn't aware of Armstrong down there, but I mean Armstrong's behaviour post the moon was very interesting. So but there are a few questions that does indicate a certain other beliefs, doesn't it? But I mean, I've heard about Admiral Byrd and sort of the inner Earth stuff that's very sort of interesting, around that. But
that's a rabbit hole. That is a rabbit hole. I spend my life in rabbit holes. As a bus driver, you've got 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, parked up. And
that's good. Yeah.
Scrolling. So
got to make the most of it.
Let's wrap it up. What should viewers expect when they tune in to you? What's coming? What's happening in the future? Where are you going to go with this?
Oh, good question. So probably more non-committal answers from me until we get more evidence. That's the main thing.
Happen. I'll be live, but it will be the sky.
Well, just it's going to be the sky. It's going to be the activity that we see there. Again, we're on pretty much most nights at the minute there, with the weather changing. So we want to get the sky. So we're seizing the opportunities we can there. Also, our alien radio signal hunts there when it is too cloudy to do that. But we try and do more on location. That is something that's coming up for us now. Yeah. So taking the rig on the road, and we do a hill fort now locally. It's got a long history of sightings. So we go up there, which is very, very cold at this time of year. So yeah, more on locations to do that. We want to do Stonehenge because you can get very, very close to that at night. So do a live UFO Skywatch from Stonehenge next time the weather's permitting.
wow.
So yeah, it's sort of stuff like that we're. I mean, ultimately, the idea would be to do a little bit of a road trip for all of the UK sort of hotspots. You know, Rendlesham Forest. The Falkirk Triangle.
Tomadon. So do you remember the Tomadon
Ah,
incident?
yes,
I am
that's
down
on the
the road.
list.
I am down
Well,
the
you'll
road
have to
from
come
that.
with us when we're doing that. Yeah,
Put me in, coach. Let's go. Sign me up.
100%.
Let's go.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, they're very cold, but yeah,
I don't
come
care.
along. I think it'd be absolutely fascinating.
I don't care. I was in the West Yorkshire Paranormal Group for many years, and we travelled the country ghost hunting. So I am
Love it.
Nothing phases me. Nothing bothers me. I am all in.
I'll wait for my chat to go off with them. I'm sorry, chat. I've been ignoring your stream because
Me
it's
too.
new.
I have been
yeah,
backwards, but it's difficult, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. But
final message to the UFO curious watching tonight. What you're going to say to them? This is it, by the way. This is your big finale. No pressure. No one's watching. There's only me and you.
drum roll. Yeah. Yeah, it's about right. And it's so yeah. What's the big message? I just keep looking up and let's all, as we're discussing this thing, whether you're positive towards it, open to it, or you're negative towards it. But let's just lower the gas a little bit. Let's just talk about this a little bit more openly and be open to the other side's opinion with it. Let's be a bit more, civil. I think.
Amazing.
That's
and if you see something, get on this man's channel. Get on Sam's channel.
Exactly. Send it to us. Yeah, I'm always interested to see any footage or anything. Yes, send it in. We'd love to see it.
That's amazing. Sam, you are a legend. Everybody in my chat,
thank you.
jump across to Sam. Send Sam a follow.
And likewise, chat over to here.
I appreciate you. I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad it was a very quick put together interview, but all mine seem to be at the moment.
Cool.
But I appreciate you giving me the time. You have 18 minutes now to dust yourself off, top up your lipstick, and go straight back into the old live. Powder the head like me.
Yeah, powder the light bouncing off it. Yeah, that's the next step. Makeup room.
Yes.
Thank you for having us in. It's been absolutely. I've enjoyed it. And a chance to talk about these things. I don't normally get a chance to talk too much about my opinion on it.
We'll meet up again, Sam. We'll meet up again,
100%.
and maybe there's a round table to be had for your Discord and me to drop in one of your round tables one night just to have a. I don't know if you do
Always
that.
welcome.
I'm not taking over that. That is your baby. But I would love to sit and have a conversation with like-minded people.
Well, 100%. I mean, we're very passive on the Discord at the minute. It's more just sort of the chat sort of side of things. I say passive. There's lots of action in the text and the posting. I do want to look at a way of including more conversations like this. I'm just not very familiar with how to manage to do it through TikTok Studio. So one day I'll get a bit more confident. We can set up some conversations.
I can send a moderator over to you if you want.
Oh, cool.
I can send a moderator over to your chat and to send you a private message, and then you can always have a chat with them about doing it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd like to do some more sort of conversational stuff. It's just figuring it out. So out of the comfort zone again with that.
Anything I can help with, let me know. I have moderators. I have a team. But we can obviously help and give advice. But listen, Sam, you are amazing. Thank you so much for the chat. You are going to have to drop out because if I drop you out, it'll cut my live. But good luck with everything. Keep looking up, guys. Everyone in your chat, thank you for supporting. Everyone in my chat,
excellent.
Thank you so much. Good night, Sam.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. And to my chat quickly, because I'm going to end on this one. We might be on in a bit, but it's probably going to be a bit later than normal, so sorry about that. But thank you for joining us for this one, and I'll catch up with you guys later there. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Sam. Wow. What an interesting dude. Cassie, that is like 11th hour, that is. Awesome. Wow, what a chat. Lordsden, how we doing? I've just seen you. Welcome back, Lord. I am unbelievably impressed. What do you think, guys? What a lovely guy. What a lovely, lovely, lovely man. Did you enjoy that? Did you get the information you were looking for? LJ, hi, how you doing? Interesting dude. Interesting. Really, really, really interesting. last second reprieve. I love that, Lord. I love that. I'm not going to get into it, but Lord Lord didn't have an account until just now or whenever. So he's back. He's got a big battle, by the way, guys, tonight. For those that are on, if you want to go support Lord, he's in the chat. Send him a follow. Come to his battle at 11 o'clock tonight. So, Cosmic, thank you. Great interview. Wayne, fabulous. Thank you. It was really, really, really good. And look, the numbers weren't the same as Ash's, but that doesn't matter. It's about the conversation. And this is going to be recorded, and it will be split into two, part one and part two. They will be following days to each other. I'll put part one up tomorrow and part two up the day after, hopefully, because we're going to do hour slots for TikTok. So you can go back and watch it anytime you want. Did I get all the questions that you wanted in there? I had a list of questions, and I think I have 50 questions, and I think I asked 20 of them, and then we went whoosh, and we went off. But I found him very interesting, and I am all in for that sort of conversation. It's a really interesting subject. I spend my life in rabbit holes for that subject. It's so interesting. So next week, let's have a look where we are at. Let me look at my booking list. So we have Kyle, who is Lord 69 a time, in the chat now. He's just said hi all. His interview is next. It's on the 3rd of the 12th at 8 p.m. Kyle is an agency owner. He owns an agency on TikTok. I'm in an agency. I'm in his agency. It's called Break the Chains. I want to know what on earth is an agency. They have helped me. They have supported me. But I have so many questions about an agency. There are so many misconceptions. Kyle has agreed, as owner of the agency that I'm in, very graciously to come on and answer all the questions about what on earth is an agency? Why do we need an agency? Where does the money come from for being an agency? Because I don't give them any money. Misconceptions, all the questions about agencies. Kyle is going to answer them. Kyle is all in for that. Then the day after, so we're doing 2 next week, we've got Con, who is on the 4th of the 12th. So the day after, that's on the Thursday. That's at 8 p.m. He's so interesting. He's a care kid, self-proclaimed care kid. And he went through the care system all the way through, aged out the other end, so didn't get adopted. And we're going to talk to him about his journey through the care system. Very lovely, very interesting kid, man. He's in his 20s. But really, really, really likeable, really lovely. He's been on TikTok a month. He's at 5,000 followers. He's gone like that. So we're going to have a chat with him. And then we are talking to a lady called Pops. I'm not going to tell you about that. And then we're talking to Cassie, who is a lady who's moved from Canada, sold up, and moved to Belize, and bought some property with Mayan ruins. We're going to get into that conversation. And she had a workman on her property the other day that was working, I don't know if he was cutting grass or something like that, and heard somebody screaming at him, and there was no one there. So that conversation is going to happen. Looking forward to the kid that's gone through the care system. That will be really interesting. Kyle will be interesting. Pops, if I can confirm with Pops, will be good. Mr. UK TikTok official, I am talking to. I would love to get him because I think he is intentionally doing what he's doing. I don't think that's who he is. I don't think that's who he is at all. I think it's all a persona, a character, and I want to get to the bottom of who he is and his TikTok life, his TikTok journey. I'm not going to bait him. I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I do want to get to the bottom of who and what and why he is who he is. You don't get to be one or be two by not being good at what you do. And then we're talking to Nicola Manx, the lady that I've forgotten her name, but I need to remember it. The organist, the main organist, head chief organist of the Royal Albert Hall. She is going on tour, so I'm going to talk to her. Ellie Sachs, we're talking to, waiting for a reply from her. Don't know if that's going to happen because she's big on Facebook, not so big on TikTok. But she's a saxophone artist. She does a lot of dance music with saxophone live. Her husband's a DJ. Really, really interesting story. She's from my town. Kelly Hollis, waiting for her to come back to us. I know I've talked about her a lot. We're struggling with that one, so that might not happen. And then Crazy Auntie Anne, she's going to be contacted and see if she will do an interview. She's the lady on the Just Eat adverts, the old lady on the Just Eat adverts. That sounds really bad. She's not an old lady. She's a mature lady with her husband. She's gone so big on TikTok, but she was in my daughter's. My daughter was in her class. She's a teacher, so, and I know her story, but it's interesting. So I'd like to interview her as well. Gem C and Ellie Sachs on the 19th of December. Right, guys, I am coming off. I am so not well right now, so I'm going to go to bed. I appreciate you all coming on. That was an awesome chat. Such a nice guy. So interesting. I'm going to download it. I'm going to edit it, split it, and put it part 1 on tomorrow, part 2 on the day after. I appreciate every single one of you for just being you. You are amazing, guys. Just before I go, if you can unfollow, refollow me, because I haven't counted the unfollow, refollows. If you can do that for me just before I go off, that would be awesome. And then I'm going to go find my pillow. I need to go and cuddle it because I am struggling right now. But I need, I need 2. 2, if you could do that, Tony, I appreciate you. Unfollow, refollows, that would be awesome. I appreciate you all. Good night. Peace out, guys. Have a great evening and a great weekend.